Brommaplan. We're at the far end, and I just want to say I walked by a guy who was speaking on his phone. I wanted to wait until I got past him to start the video. I think he's American. He sounds American anyway, so that was kind of nice. Speaking English. That was kind of funny. Anyway, here comes the train. Train for Hasselby Strand, as you can see, maybe. So, and that's his train. He looks like he's getting on that train, so he must have been waiting for a northbound. That fellow who was on the phone, I mean. So, anyway, when I was at Okasov, which I just was, by the way, I was talking about how the station's a little bit curved, and that's why there was closed circuit TV. As you can see, I think you can see, there's the closed circuit TV that you can see at the far end of the platform. And looking in this direction, you can see that the station is extremely curved. It's a very sharp curve. Originally, the system here had what were called train guards who were responsible for opening and closing the doors, similar to what they have in New York. They got rid of that starting in the 1980s, and I think they may have started in the 70s. I'm not sure of the exact time frame. But anyway, I think by the late 1980s, those were all gone. There were no longer any guards on the system anymore. But this is why they needed something, obviously. By the way, if we turn around, you can see there's also closed-circuit television if you can see that little KT sign there on the track. That's the short train stopping position, and they have closed-circuit television at that position as well, so that the doors can be closed in safety, we hope. I personally don't put a whole lot of faith into those. I've used those closed-circuit television things to open and close, to close the doors at stations, and guards are a better solution. I will also say that there have been incidents of people. I know of one instance back in like the 1990s, I think, of a little boy falling down between the train and the platform at this station. Fortunately, he was rescued before the train departed, so that ended well. But it must have been horribly frightening for him and his mother, who was with him. So, yeah. There's not just a whole lot to say about this station per se. What there is at the station is a fairly substantial bus terminal. So we're going to walk out and check that out. The headways still seem to be looking more like 6 minutes or so. I'm not sure. It may have been at the longer headways that I saw earlier, which you haven't seen yet because they were at Okasov, which is the next station you'll see. I think that there might have been some kind of disruption in the service that caused those headways to be not what they normally would be, but I don't know. Again, I don't work here anymore, so I don't know the details of the service patterns and everything, so. There's a small shopping center right there, including a nice supermarket. Let's see if I can get out of the sun and see if you can see this. I'm not sure how well the camera is going to capture this, but anyway, this is the display that shows the buses, departure times, and which stop they're at. Which stop they will leave from. One of the stops that I have used a couple of times here is actually stop D, which is over there in front of the McDonald's. But most of the stops are over here. And by the way, if you can see that gray bus that has a rainbow pattern on the side, those are the airport buses. There's airport bus service from here. I think it's usually half hourly, and I have also used that a couple of times. But yeah, this is, I'm curious about that building. I would expect that it was not residential because it does not have any balconies, at least not on this side. But it also does kind of look, I can sort of see into some of the rooms, and it looks like they might be furnished with like residential furniture. It's a little hard to say, but I don't know. I may have to look that up later because I'm curious about it. Anyway, so yeah, this basically is Brommaplan. So, yep. So we'll head back in. This is quite a narrow escalator. Looking at this is making me wonder whether the elevator, which is behind us, there was retrofitted to the station. I don't know. Anyway, I think I've said what there is to be said about Brommaplan, so I will wind this up, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.